Easy Eddie. This is an interesting scroll because, well, let's just say it is. There's a poem in it that prompted, in fact, this may be the one that started all this craziness. I took the poem out of context, and I realized the rest of the story needed to be told very badly, because the poem seemed as a threat when indeed it was not. Easy Eddie. Many years ago, Al Capone, the notorious criminal, was involved in everything from booze to prostitution and murder. Al had a personal lawyer nicknamed Easy Eddie, and Eddie's skill at legal maneuvering was the primary reason Big Al was kept out of jail for so many years. Capone paid Eddie well, and Eddie lived the high life. He and his family occupied a fenced-in mansion that filled an entire Chicago city block. Though involved deeply with the mob, Eddie had one soft spot, his son, whom he loved dearly. Eddie saw to it that his young son had clothes, cars, good education, and despite his involvement with organized crime, Eddie tried his best to teach his son right from wrong. Eddie wanted his son to grow up to be a good man. One day, Eddie decided to rectify wrongs he had done and went to the authorities to tell the truth about Al Capone so he could clean up his tarnished name and offer his son some semblance of integrity. Eddie knew the cost for testifying against the mob would be great, and he was right. Within a year, Eddie's life ended in a blaze of gunfire on a lonely Chicago street. Yet in his eyes, Eddie gave his son a great gift. When the police emptied his pockets, they found a rosary and a poem Eddie had clipped from a magazine. The poem read, "The clock of life is wound but once. No man has the power to tell just when the hands will stop. Now is the only time you own. Live, love, toil with a will. Place no faith in time, for the clock may soon be still." Now, an unrelated but necessary parallel to the above story, this is what prompted the scroll. World War II produced many heroes. One such man was Navy Lieutenant Commander Butch O'Hare, a fighter pilot assigned to the aircraft carrier Lexington in the South Pacific. One day his squadron was set on a mission. After he was airborne, Butch looked at his fuel gauge and realized the crew did not top off his fuel tank. He knew he would not have enough fuel to complete his mission and return to the ship. Butch's flight leader ordered Butch to return to the carrier. Reluctantly, Butch dropped out of the formation and headed back to the fleet. On returning to the fleet, Butch saw, in the distance, a squadron of Japanese aircraft heading toward the fleet. Since the fleet's fighters were all out on their missions, their fleet was now virtually defenseless. Butch was unable to raise his squadron leader on the radio to bring them back in time to save the fleet. There was only one thing for Butch to do. He had to stop the Japanese planes from attacking the fleet. Without hesitation or regard for his personal safety, Butch dove into the formation of enemy aircraft with his wing-mounted .50 caliber guns. He blazed in, attacking one surprised aircraft after another. Butch wove in and out of the now broken formation and fired at as many planes as possible until his ammunition was spent. Even though his ammo was gone, Butch continued his assault by diving at the planes, trying to clip a wing or hit a tail in hopes of damaging them and rendering them unfit to fly. Totally exasperated, the remaining Japanese aircraft headed home. Butch perished in the ocean. Butch's hometown vowed not to allow the memory of this World War II hero to fade from their memory. They named their city airport after him. The city of Chicago decided to pay tribute to its courageous native son. Appropriately, they named a new airport after Butch O'Hare. Interesting, but what do these two stories have in common? Butch Edward O'Hare, the World War II flying ace hero, was Easy Eddie's son.